Big hour markers, generous lume, stark black and white contrast, and why not 500 meters of water resistance. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the Tudor Pelagos, and it is a perfect example of a tool watch.
But what exactly is a tool watch and what is its function today? Let's explore this question and go on an adventure together.
A tool watch was designed to excel at a very specific activity, and perhaps more importantly, it was actually used for that purpose by actual people. People depended on it working. Now, since we're talking about a dive watch, let's take the shore as an example. Those markers around the bezel, together with the minutes hand, they are designed to tell you how much oxygen you have left during a dive. Well, the watch better do its job then, or you may find yourself acutely short of breath with mountains of water above you. This at least would be the romantic definition of a tool watch. You entrust it not only with doing a job for you, but with your own safety, with yourself. In a way then, tool watches are the complete opposite of luxury. Luxury being something superfluous, something you don't need at all. Tool watches being something you absolutely do.
In other words, it doesn't kill anybody to lose his or her Gucci bag, but it gets uncomfortable very, very quickly if you breathe in salt water rather than air.
This was in the past, but how can we think about a tool watch today? It is obvious that nowadays nobody needs a tool watch anymore. We are perfectly capable of doing saturation diving without glancing at the dive bezel. Heck, let's be brutally honest, we don't need wristwatches, period. As watch lovers like to forget that and train ourselves to perceive a watch as an essential item, so that leaving the house without one almost feels like leaving it naked. But objectively, our smartphones do the trick of telling the time just fine. Much better, in fact, than this watch or even a ludicrously expensive grand complication from Patek.
Now, having established that we don't need wristwatches and we certainly can do without tool watches, what exactly is the function of a tool watch today?
Let me make an awkward confession. Never once in the 5 years that I owned this watch did I swim with it. As a kid, I had to be dragged kicking and screaming to swim school. Oh, how I hated going there every week. And since then, my attitude hasn't changed. Although I may not be kicking and screaming anymore when I see a body of water, I will still do everything in my power to not get my feet wet. The mere thought of going underwater and actually staying down there with the enemy element all around me sends shivers down my spine.
Nevertheless, and even though I'm no Indiana Jones, I kind of like the idea of being an adventurer and going out into the wild. Maybe even discovering a forsaken bunker and taking a look inside.
Let's face it, most of us are leading pretty boring lives when compared to the ones of our ancestors. Exposed to the elements for tens of thousands of years, they had no choice but to be adventurers, 24/7. You better be able to deal with snow, rain and the cold when there is no or little protection from them. Perhaps some of that natural proclivity for adventure is still with us today, and more than likely we still feel the need to live out at least parts of it, if only in our imagination. Seen from that perspective, the obsolete tool watch still fulfills a purpose. Yes, it may not be used in actuality to venture out into the deep, deep waters to secure the pirate's bounty. But you know what? It could go there. Its rugged construction would make it a solid companion for rock climbing. And yes, that luminescent material would light up perfectly in the semi-dark of a campfire. So why do people own tool watches? In short, it feels adventurous to wear a tool watch because it's ready for adventure, even if I'm not.